Well, Chiefs Kingdom, welcome back. Your Kansas City Chiefs are in first place in the AFC. Let's talk about it tonight. Welcome back to RGR Football, everyone. Hope that you're doing well. See a lot of faces in the chat already. We are going to get on over to that. The headphones on because Dan hopefully will be joining me later. We'll see how his schedule works out. And there's a big game that's about to tip. So we're going to go through your questions. But before we miss anything else, I got to tell you about the company that's sponsoring this particular show. It's MyBookie. And back from when you saw them on Thanksgiving Day, that first one, well, now it's a little bit later. And it's the most wonderful time of the year that's coming along, and the only place that you're guaranteed to get everything that you deserve, a little extra money in your pocket, as well as a little bit of fun and a win. That's mybookie.ag. They're the only sports book that doesn't care whether you were naughty or nice this year. They're going to give you your shot to make your choices. NFL, NBA, all your favorite sports. Plus, you can do those prop bets on who does what and when, like maybe on a onside kick, who might pull that off, all kinds of craziness that you can go ahead and just say what you think and get paid for it. It's real simple. You sign up, use the promo code RGR. It helps us out, and you get to deposit half on top of what you put in there. So you put in $100, you get $50 more as a deposit bonus. Head over to MyBookie and check them out. They've been great to me, and I wanted to pass that along to you guys. Make sure that the holidays are fun for you this year and strut yourself a little bit when you win some cash. This winter, bet with the best and use MyBookie. Now, that said, betting something that is always a little bit hairy because you never know some of the craziness that's going to go on. I got back and just started looking at all the stats and all the stuff that came out today, snap counts, etc. Some things that honestly took me by surprise. I'm sure we're going to get to it all, but I want to say right off the top, we are up to 60 plus members, and I want to thank each and every one of you. We're approaching the 1 month thing, so you guys are going to renew as you join, and it's been great. Brian Gooch, I owe you a one-on-one. We have to get that figured out. And everyone, if you're a member, Tuesday night is your thing. We're going to contact you with the Zooms for the All-Stars and above. We're going to give you the links in the community tab for all the live streams for the starters and above. And then everybody else is going to get some of the special stuff. And I have something super cool for you, plus a bonus tomorrow. Terez Paylor's going to join me. I'm going to have a video for you tomorrow evening with me and Terez one-on-one. We'll go over a bunch of things. And then I'll have a bonus member video with a little bit more. You can always check out portions of it on the Locked On Chiefs podcast. It will be on there as well in audio form. So check that out as well. I'm really excited about this. I think you guys are really going to dig the conversation. All you members, thank you very much. It's been moving along quite nicely. And for all of you that support this channel pretty constantly, very much appreciated. There's plenty of you out there. And if you do leave a super chat tonight, or you want to become a member, or you want to upgrade your membership to one of the higher tiers so you can get more interaction, go ahead, give it a shot. Let me know what you think, and I will always say thank you. But if you do, and you do something tonight, make sure you ask a question so I can get you something for it right now tonight. Now, I don't have my brand new shirt on. You saw it last night. I don't know if I pull off the gold color very well, but I like it, so I gave it a shot. That said, there's plenty over there in the RGR store as well. And so now it looks like what I'm going to do from right now, I'm going to start with the questions here, and we're going to catch up. But we have Aaron, we have Jeff, Stevie Keys is here, Curtis is here, Cole's here. I mean, the members are showing up, coming out, and we're going to get to everything that we can. But so that I don't fall behind, I'm going to start right now. And the first one that I see is Chris. No, it's not. It's Row the Boat. Ben Albright tweeted that the Raiders and Broncos laid out a blueprint to slow down Mahomes, and the Dolphins executed that plan. I completely disagree. I generally disagree, only because I think what the Dolphins did was more effective because they were able to disguise a whole lot better than either the Broncos or the Raiders. But it is similar in that they were able to apply some pressure with just 4. The Dolphins actually only sent 3 on a lot of snaps yesterday. I don't have the total trend counts, but I do have the pressure counts. And it was working. It is something that you have to keep in mind when you go against them. Nothing against Ben. He knows what he's talking about, but I think he's just reading a little bit too much in, or he was specifically talking about playing guys back in coverage and not over committing to the blitz, to the front. In that case, I would say that Ben's right. Ben's a super dude, and he knows what he's talking about. He's been on the show with us before, and it's always a good conversation. So don't write him too hard. Chris, good to see you too. Sometimes I feel like the Chiefs are the mouse and the league are the mice. The mice or the cat, and they just play until they think they can get away with. Well, yeah, that's true. There is a certain portion to that. And if you listen to Locked On NFL last night, that's the mothership show on the Locked On Network. I wasn't actually on this week. I'm on Thursdays. But David was on there from the Tampa Bay show, and he did mention something that I had said before, a little bit out of context, but I said something similar. Like, Andy doesn't necessarily shut it down. He doesn't like stop calling plays, but he does kind of, once he gets out to a lead, he calms things down. It's not the deep shots as much. It's not as cutthroat is how I would put it. And the opposite is true too. Like, they kind of mess around in the first quarter and then they get down to serious business. Sometimes, like yesterday, it catches up with them though. When a team is able to mount a comeback as well, that's where it gets iffy, Chris. So keep an eye on that. Oh, Natalie's here too. Hi, Natalie. Glad you made it. Like it when the ladies make it. I think Ange might be in here tonight too. That's what the impression I got anyway. No switching. I'm glad you dig it, Eric. I'm very happy to hear that. I've done a lot of designs to try and make everybody happy with what they're doing. This might be Dan texting me, so I'm going to take a look at this real quick. But it's difficult. There's so many copyrights out there. I have to be very, very careful. So at the end of the day, I'm glad you dig it. The rest of the design is all mine. Obviously, wearing 58, you can't really copyright a number, can you? So I'm glad that you're into it. And for all of you that are checking out, please let me know what you like or what you'd like more. I think I can do some more designs with some more numbers as well. We'll get to that. But Eric Miller, thank you. The justification of the letters, right? I'll have to let him know that next time. Derek Hewlin, thank you for your super chat. Who do you think will play in the Super Bowl? I think it's Chiefs Saints. I think this next game is a preview, especially if Drew Brees comes back and can do what he does. I thought we've seen progression from Taysom Hill, to tell you the truth. And so I think they can be very scary once they both get back and they both get in a rhythm and you have both those guys as weapons. I think in the end, it's going to be a shootout in the NFC Championship game with the Green Bay Packers and the Saints. And if they have both those guys clicking, I think that can top what Aaron and the crew in Green Bay are doing. But I think that's going to be a great game too. So, Pono Kwai, how are you? Oh man, I'm slowing down already. Got to hit these. Why didn't Andy realize that the swing passes to CEH and Levon? Why doesn't he utilize them? It's a lot more effective than they're endlessly running into stone walls. That's a very good point. And you saw when CEH in particular hit the edge there on that wheel, it worked great. You have to get the coverage though. If you do it too often, then you get them playing soft zones where the corners stay out there, and then it makes it more difficult. But yeah, I think there's a certain aspect to that is not Andy, it's Mahomes. Because whenever you have even a wheel route, but certainly just a flat route or something like that, they are the third, fourth, fifth option in the route tree. Mahomes, and Andy said this specifically like a week ago, Mahomes works deep to shallow. He is moving. He is always checking, like Brett Favre, for that home run, and then he works back. There might be specific plays where he does the opposite, but for the generality, he works deep to shallow. And that's honestly why he gets so many big plays. It goes a very long way in getting that done, but it does also limit the number of touches that you pass to the running back. I think that'll change in the playoffs because I think you're going to see more and more teams do the cover fours and the cover sixes and the really deep coverages that I think you can slow the team down with. And when it comes back, it's about crossing routes and the backs. I think that will work for them. Will, how are you? If Kelsey shatters all the records, the tight end records, does he take Offensive Player of the Year? I think that he will. I think even if he doesn't, if he has, what do they have, 3 games left? If he has another 300 yards, that will shatter the record. You're right. but I mean, he'll be the leading pass catcher in yardage in the league. I mean, that's worthy of it. And being a tight end, I think, is significant. So yeah, I think he's definitely in the running there. Let's see, Curtis, is it right that even if we lose to the Saints, we'll still have the number 1 seed? That is technically correct as it stands right now. This game, Ravens and Browns, may actually change that. It goes record, conference record. And so if the Chiefs lost to the Saints, it would be an NFC loss, not an AFC, which would leave each of them with one AFC loss. But the next tiebreaker, I believe, is it's division record, which the Steelers would have the advantage in. And then below that would be strength of schedule. And these guys are beating up on each other, so that could affect that much farther. So I do believe that is the way that it will work out. The tiebreakers go on, and it's very complex. So we'll see how it goes as it goes. Let's see, Spencer, do we get to see any split backfields? Right now, they're trying to platoon. They're trying to take it easy on their guys. I think we will in the playoffs. Natalie, I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad that you have the opportunity to forget what day it is. That's good. Let's see. What did the Chiefs see in the Dolphins film that got Sherman some reps? That they had their linebackers out was A, and the fact that they don't flow quite as well sideways as they attack. They're an attacking defense. Once especially you get them leaning, or if you let them take a couple of steps, like with a counter move, it's hard for them to get quite as explosively lateral, but they are really good at that too. But that's why. And like I said pre-game last week, if you can hit the edges, if you can get the ball on the outside, not only does it play to the strength of the Chiefs line, but it plays against what the defenses can do. They have some very good athletes in the backfield. And certainly when you're talking, Jets with the wide receivers getting to the edge, it's just a mismatch. Thank you, Stevie. And Stevie's one of our huge members. There's a ton of members in here tonight, and I'm really happy to see all of you guys. Man, it surprises me sometimes. What do you think that Dana could overtake K-Pass and start okay at the end? Daniel, that's a good question. Saw some really solid plays from him right before the safety. Yes, I mean, he was in on the safety. He produced pressure. Not as much as the other guys, but what did he have? He had 2 pressures on the night plus 3 tackles, and he sparked some. We saw him. He was in on plays, even if he wasn't the guy making the tackle. I agree with you. It was a good game for him. The problem is he has had games where he disappears as well. And so, like, as a rookie, it's really tough to stay consistent. And I don't think you'll see him start until next season at the earliest. Quite frankly, I think he's going to be a platoon player for a bit until he can become dominant in like year 3, maybe 4. And in the meantime, they have to get another big time, second day pass rusher, I think, is what they have to do in the draft. Great question. And folks, if you are new to the channel, make sure you like and sub and hit the bell notification. And I see what I think are some questions that don't have question marks in front. That's the key for me, because I'm terrible at doing this on the fly. Put your question marks at the beginning, and that will help me find them quite a bit, like Pono did here. Good to see the Saints fall to the Eagles. What should the Chiefs learn from the game to exploit the Saints? Well, part of it is it was really the first game that you saw Jalen Hurts on film. Oh, and yeah, shout out to Westbound and Down. Tonight's beer is one of the Western All-Stars. This is their West Coast IPA collaborations. This one is with the Pizza Port in San Diego. So, as I need to take a sip. And what it is that I think they can try to do some of the same things with the run game on the outside, but they have to get those DBs to commit up. And that's going to be the play action. It's going to be the long crossing routes, because you have to put a man to a decision. It's like a poker game. You win when you make the other guy decide. And getting Tyreek, like you saw yesterday on the longer touchdown where the safety actually came up to him, which made no sense. Clearly, you're not watching film if you're trying to attack up to Tyreek Hill. But that gave him the window to get past him. And that's something, until you've played Tyreek's speed, you just don't really know what you don't know. You know what I mean? So that's what I would take away. Did 87 surpass DK Metcalf in total yards? Yes, Morbian. I believe Travis is about 60 yards ahead of him total. I would have to go pull that up. And if we need to, I can definitely do that. Sorry, everyone's texting me. It's not Dan, so he will still get here, I think. Spencer, who's the biggest AFC worry at this point? We handled the Bills and the Steelers don't look tough anymore. I think they're both, sleeping giants, though. The Bills have improved in their pass game in particular. The Chiefs beat them up with the run that time, but I think that they've gotten better. And the Steelers have been good. If they get their run game on and protect Ben from himself, Chase Claypool, Washington, and Juju are still a really formidable group, especially against a Chiefs secondary that's still young and still prone to getting beat by speed. So watch out. Those are still, I think, nothing against Nick Chubb. Sorry, my TV's over here. That's why I keep looking over that way. Nick Chubb is a very good back. They have a lot of weapons on there. Could the Browns be a wild card surprise? Maybe, but I'm not as scared of them as I am with the true speed the Steelers have. So that's kind of where it comes down to for me. Cole, how are you? Why don't they play Kilgore over Reader? Man, if I knew that, Kilgore be playing. You've heard me and Dan talk about that. We both believe it should be Kilgore in there. I think it's just about familiarity. Kilgore got to the team kind of late. Still learning the playbook in terms of he hasn't had the snaps. I thought he looked good in the games that he played. Again, something that they were able to run a little bit better than normal. But that just clearly isn't in Andy's game plan right now, and that's okay. Andy's in charge for a reason. They're going to be okay, but I'm not sure what that reason is when I take a longer look at it. Sorry. Pono, how are you? Let's see. Juan looks really tentative and gun-shy. It seems passive due to his injury. A little bit. I have seen that, and I think that the high-end speed isn't there like it was earlier in the season, so I think he has beat himself up a little bit. But also, he's starting from deeper in the box. Even when he's out high, I think he still looks okay. It's not quite as spry as normal, but when they put him in the box, he certainly is not able to accelerate like we've seen before. Eric, Dolphins corners were much better suited to cover our receivers one-on-one than the Raiders or Donkeys. If the fish couldn't beat us with 4 turnovers, how can anybody other than us beat us? That is a very good point. And it goes along with the idea that Patrick can have his worst day as a Chief in terms of the way he's throwing that many interceptions, still put up, 27 points or 26 points and win. And that's what it comes down to. There are times every great quarterback has to have another aspect, either his skill players or his defense pick him up from time to time. That's what we saw yesterday. And that's actually a sign of maturation of the team. So I think that's a really positive thing that we saw. Not what you'd hoped for, but definitely what it needs to be. Chris Smith, how are you? The dime defenses with Neiman on the field seem to be the team's biggest weakness. Why do you think that Hitch isn't on the field every down? I think they're saving Hitch. He played reduced snaps last week. Yesterday, I think it was under 50%. I'd have to pull that up. Hold on a second. I'm going to do just that because this is a very good point. The high was Tyron, who played 100% at 83 snaps. So that'd be 42 would be 50%. Hitch played just over that at 45. I think it is physical. You'd rather have him out there. And the two of them are the guys that make the calls. Clearly, in the third and long package, they like Neiman out there because he's comfortable in coverage. He can blitz. He got 4 pressures yesterday. When they went to the blitz with Neiman, he actually got in somebody's face. Obviously didn't connect, didn't make – I think he got 1 hit out of those 4 pressures. But that's why. Eventually, that will become Willie Gay. It seems like it's not going to be until next season. I don't know what to tell you. That's just the way that they're going. So – Hot and Spicy, how are you? The Chiefs have a good amount of draft picks. What should they invest in the most? I still feel they need a top corner, obviously linebacker and interior. They might need a tackle. I don't know what's going on with Schwartz. And Niang is a total question right now because he hasn't been in the program. So it's almost like rebooting Niang from scratch. If I know Barry Rubin and professional strength and conditioning coaches as well as trainers, they've had Niang on a program of strength and conditioning, hopefully dropping a little bit of weight, working on his hip flexibility and power to protect his labrum, which was the injury he had in college. And hopefully this extra year of basically only working out and doing rehab allows him to be that much stronger when he comes in. So I'm excited to see what his upside is when we do get a glimpse of him again, but you can never outline it there. And then certainly a pass rusher. They need help. Right now, it's just Dana and Frank that are under contract. So Okafor, is Okafor a restricted agent? I'd have to take a look at that. But K-Pass is a free agent. Who else? There's a lot of question marks. They need more edge rush, and it seems that they're not going to give Wharton a pass out there because he's doing pretty good inside. So I think they're just going to leave him there. Carter, should they worry about Hill's hamstring? No, it was reported today, Carter, that they're pretty happy with it. That it was not a pull, it was just a cramp, and that it relaxed with therapy and I think an IV on the way home on the plane. I'm not sure. But they say that it's nothing to worry about at this point. So I'm feeling pretty confident about it as well. Kyle Hendricks, how are you? Overall summary on going to play the Saints next week. I'm nervous. I agree. I think honestly, and I'll tell you this, there's going to be people that are going to tell you here, either on social media or some talking heads, that maybe they're going to rest Drew Brees. That's bull. He's going to play. Sean Payton said he's going to practice. First of all, Taysom Hill is not a well-rounded quarterback. If you're going to practice and Taysom Hill's going to be your quarterback, he's going to get the reps. It's not going to be Drew. If Drew's practicing, Drew's going to get the reps, which means he's going to play. That said, he's also a supreme competitor. And after them losing last week, he is not going to take the week off, even if it is against Patrick. He is going to play because they need it. They need that one seed. I think that they more than the Packers need the one seed in order to get a little bit of rest so that they can try to make the run. Let's see. Pie Dessert, how many games will the Chiefs have had in the Reed area where the opponent is missing significant contributors? They get a bunch. It's not the end of the world, but you play who shows up. If you're not healthy enough to play, we don't worry about you. That's just the way that it works. Steve Concepcion, did you see Gay's closing speed? He flew in from out of nowhere to tackle the wide receiver on that trick play. Yes. That's what I expect from Willie Gay. And I even tweeted at the time, that's why he should be on the field more, because even when he makes a mistake and gets out of position, he has the athleticism to recover from that. And that's why he needs to be playing more. Also, go back and look at the kick return, because it was Willie leading the way with McCole, and he actually slowed down to fade back on a block. So Willie showed a lot there. Oh, hey, and Dan made it. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
Sorry if I kept you waiting there.
No, you're fine. You can talk all you want.
You know me. Once I get going. Let's see. Chris, how are you? I think people are banging on the O-line too much. I think they're doing a good job considering. This is good for them to get battle tested, and will be better as they go. I hope. I hope you're right too, Chris.
I don't hold out much hope. They're not playing against a bunch of star-studded defensive lines, and that's what you're going to see in the playoffs. If they play the guys like probably not the Bills so much, but the Colts, DeForest Buckner had their way with them in the Super Bowl. He would have their way with this offensive line. I mean, there are some defensive lines out there. Justin Houston probably would like to get a few nicks back at this offensive line, this team. So there's the Colts off of defensive line is one of the things that I'm worried about. Not so much like worried, because we all know Phillip Rivers' noodle arm in December is nothing to be afraid of.
Right. I mean, that's just the way that it goes. I tend to agree with you too. And I'll say this, Chris, not to smash your opinion. I don't agree with you, but your opinion is perfectly valid. But I will say this too. They would have been better if it was about getting chemistry, if it was about playing time together. They've had that. And I just don't see them maxing out what they're capable of. Here, let me back that up so we're a little more even. That bugs me when I'm bigger than you. Sorry. Kansas Carolina, how are you? Didn't see as many stunts on the D-line. Am I wrong? I didn't notice much. I think it was really trying to maintain and occupy blockers so they could get the backers and the defensive backs blitzing. And I thought that was pretty effective. So
they had a couple. They were pretty good though.
Yeah. Okay. It's not usually what I'm watching live. Unless
I just haven't
noticed
a little bit. Some twists, some stunts, and they were better than I've seen in previous weeks.
Yeah. Dan the Assassin Sorenstan. Okay, I like that. I'm not sure what it means, but I like it. Steve Concepcion, would it be possible to trade for Jason Kelce? Would that work for both brothers on the same team? I don't think it would be a negative. I'm sure two brothers can play on the same team. I wanted I wanted Kendall and Kyle Fuller to be on the same team. I'll tell you that.
That would have been so much fun. I tell you what.
But I ain't trading for Jason Kelsey's contract.
No, especially not at this point in his career. He's
You see these fingernails? Jason's holding on. He's holding on
by a thread, guys.
Yeah,
it's closing real fast.
I'm actually hopeful that if you're going to spend a little bit of money, I think a cheap free agent that will be available is going to be Mitch Morse. And I know he can play in the system. He can't give you a full season because he's going to get another concussion, but he can fill in pretty well. And I would like to see him come back.
Bring in some depth. You can go maybe even draft a center higher than you normally would. Maybe you play Mitch Morse a few games early in the season to get comfortable, give him some time to acclimate to the NFL, and then you throw him in there and you have Mitch Morse as a backup. Like that feels like a perfect situation.
Yeah, I like that plan. I mean, and the Chiefs are going to get a comp pick for Kendall Fuller. Right now, it looks like it could be a third rounder.
He's playing really well.
And if EB leaves, you get an extra third rounder, and you get a third rounder in the following draft. Yep. So, I mean, if it goes that way, we could see the Chiefs with 3 to 5 top 100 picks. Yep. And you guys have heard me before. The top 100 picks are the ones that you can count on to contribute, that you have to get right, but they can make a difference. That could be cool.
Would love it.
Spencer, who would you rather play in the playoffs, Ravens or Raiders?
Ravens.
Yeah, they are. I don't know. Now that I think about it, I mean, the Raiders is kind of number offensively, but they can't stop a wet paper bag right now.
Yeah, that's fine. It's regardless. I pointed this out on Twitter yesterday. The Raiders' game plan was to be competitive with the Chiefs. Right. They didn't have plans to win the division. This was 100% to sell, the front office, the player, that they can compete with the Chiefs. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, give them a glimpse of what the future will be. They're bought into next year and next year and next year. Does Tyreek have a good argument for Offensive Player of the Year? I think he should be in the argument. I think the fact that Kelsey's doing so much more and up there in the top with everyone and being a tight end, I mean, people will tell you, oh, he lines up outside all the time. That's not true. He is out there a lot, but he lines up in line quite a bit as well. So I don't buy that argument. I think it's more of a special year for Kelsey in his output than it is for Hill. Is the only
It's funny that you mentioned that, because there's a statistic that I actually tweeted out today. The Tyreek Hill has 16 touchdowns through 13 weeks. Only 2 receivers ever have had more touchdowns at this point in the season: Jerry Rice and Randy Moss.
Okay, so
there's that 20 touchdown plateau, which he probably will. He's going to have a very good case for Offensive Player of the Year. And so will Kelsey, because he's probably going to lead the NFL in receiving and break the tight end receiving yard record. This is going to have 2 guys that could possibly win the Offensive Player of the Year. And if Mahomes doesn't win MVP, then you're going to have 3.
Yeah. And this is why 2 of them are on my fantasy team.
Yeah.
Jeremy Jones, thank you for your super chat. Very much appreciated. Why can't the team play a full 60 minutes? Do you think they could score 50 regularly?
Yeah.
I don't know why they can't. Well, I agree with you. Yeah, I think we all agree 50. I thought 50 was possible yesterday.
Yeah.
Had they stayed on track.
So I don't think this is a can't situation. I think this is a don't.
Well, they haven't.
I just don't think they do. I don't think they necessarily feel they have to.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what it feels like to me. But
when they have to, I think they're capable of it.
Yeah. We saw that really against the Ravens. That was the team almost at 90% effectiveness. Like, that was what they are. 41 points, and their defense was playing well.
Yeah. Eric Schneider, what adjustments would you make for the O-line against the Saints pass rush? First, I think we both feel like Kilgore needs to be in there if you want to be optimal. Also, I feel like Allegretti's playing pretty good, so I'm not in a rush to put Wiz in. If you're super worried about a specific position, that could be a call-up. I don't know if he's ready, whole 9 yards. I'm super worried about Mike Remmers, and we got no update today, so we don't know what's up with Mike Remmers. If it's Yasser Durant, then it's about chipping. It's about having Sherman there at the H so you can still split Travis out without making Travis do all the chipping.
Yeah,
I don't trust Kaiser to do it myself. Do you?
No, he's shown no reason that I should trust him blocking anybody, even chipping in this manner.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Good question, Eric. Galen, no, I think he might play in the postseason, but I don't think we're going to see him much. Shoot, man, I got to scroll back up.
there's one thing. If the Chiefs end up locking up the 1 seed at week 17, they might bring him in to get loose just a little bit because they're going to have that week off anyway.
Yeah.
So we might see him week 17, even though I doubt it.
Yeah. There's always a possibility. Curtis, you will hear tomorrow about DeAndre Baker because part of my show is going to go on Locked On Chiefs on the podcast. So make sure you check out the podcast because Terez and I get into DeAndre, what he thinks of him, Prime, as well as Tyron. It's a whole conglomerate. Don't miss that because it's a great conversation. I will try to put it back up for the members here, but it is a podcast specific thing. And then I have a video for you tomorrow with Terez as well, where we talk about other topics other than DeAndre, because that's what the interview was about. And then we just kind of started talking football because, it doesn't take a whole lot to get Terez to talk football. And so when I hit him with a couple of good questions, like it isn't too tough. He's a great guy. And I'll tell you guys now, like he had to go way out of his way to make time for me. So I really appreciate it. I will probably say that 10 times tomorrow too. I think Andy's holding a lot of special sauce for when it counts. You could be right. I think he's kind of, salt and peppered it a little bit, but I think there's still a bunch out there. Nothing more about Schwartz. We really don't know. Jace Geige, I think that's how you say your name. We just don't know. I think they just they want him not overtaxed, and I think they want to build up his confidence, to tell you the truth. John, this is a good question. Somebody told me about this afternoon. I haven't seen any of this. I don't know what it said. Dan,
I'm very positive that Le'Veon Bell was just like, "Hey, we just won. We're 12-1," and I come on Twitter and everyone's freaking out. It's like that's what I think. I'm interpreting his tweets were like. We're just about. He's like, "What? Like, what's going on, guys?" That's what I'm thinking was going on.
Okay, cool. Then I won't worry about it. Aaron, good point. The rookie class as well as Fenton are putting out, and I'm pretty happy with it. Willie could be. I think what's good about what they are doing with Willie is when he gets in the game, he is showing up. He is showing up in a positive manner, and so let that keep building. I don't think we have any other choice.
The frustration is mounting. Like it's been building, and I thought that after the bye week that we were going to see a lot more of him, but 17 snaps yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't have any words for that. Like that's when you're down a linebacker and he plays 17 snaps, that tells me again, they don't trust him.
Yeah. Especially to make the calls. My whole thing is I'm not asking them to replace Hitchens. I think he needs to be the guy next to Hitchens so they don't lose that adjustment capability, that experience capability. That's important. Gary, I'm confident against the Saints. I think it's going to be hairy if they, like I expect, have Breeze and Taysom. But I don't see any reason they can't pull that out. I'm not scared. I just think it's going to be a little bit of this.
I think it'll be more about back and forth and not just the Chiefs giving up a huge lead like we've seen. So the stress and anticipation will be a bit better than you're just sitting here watching a lead dissipate. So I think it'll be more entertaining for the fans instead of having that huge lead and then you're just seeing it slowly and just like go away and the Chiefs just put their foot off the gas. So I think it's gonna be a good game and it should be fun.
Yeah, I agree. Spicy, I know he's not. When somebody asks me what I think they should do, I'll tell you what I think they should do, not what I think Brett will do. Although next time I talk to him, we're gonna have that conversation. Let's see who internally poses the most threat to us repeating. D-line, secondary, LB, O-line, etc. Curious about your thoughts. For me, it's O-line no matter what.
Yep. You can't keep Patrick Mahomes upright. It won't matter.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, no matter how many points the defense gives up, I don't care if they allow 30.
Yeah.
It's about Patrick being Patrick and being able to be Patrick.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you can't keep Patrick Mahomes at least in the pocket a little bit, you force him to start running around and you can play some decent defense on the outside. Like that's all you need to do. You just hit him, start hitting them. That's how you beat any quarterback. Really, you start hitting them.
Yeah, Jimmy's. I saw the announcement about the Cleveland franchise. I don't think that's going to push Clark in any one way. He's been reaching out for quite a number of years to try and involve local tribes. I think he's trying to expand that. I think that's good. I think he will be the last of any franchise that has any kind of tie to a Native American name that will give it up. I don't think this is going to change.
Yeah, I think that this has been, like you've said, he's been working on this for a long time. So he's got a pretty good idea of what's offensive and what's not. And I think that so far he's found that it's not, but you never know.
You never do. And I do believe that he is honestly making an effort to find out how Native people feel. So good for him. Jeremy, I think there'll be interest. I really feel like the Broncos is the better fit, but it's also a thing where I don't know that Andy's going to, let him go. They can offer him an assistant head coach position in order to block that. They have ways around that. I think Andy will be happy to see EB get a head coaching job if it's not in the AFC West.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. Stevie Keys, fill in the blanks. If the Chiefs don't win multiple future Super Bowls during the Mahomes era, the reason will be protection. Plain and simple. I mean, yes, you have to re-sign Tyreek, and yes, there's a question of, who's going to be the number 2 after Sammy. And honestly, Travis needs another 5 years to be seriously in consideration for competing with Tony Gonzalez to be the best tight end ever. I think that will push him to stay there. So I'm not as worried about that one, but what do you think?
So I'm going to go ahead and say the defense, because even with the 2018 Chiefs offense, which is the best we've seen it to this point, one, because people didn't have much on Mahomes at that point, and he was just slinging it everywhere. But we've seen them at the peak and what they can do, putting up more points than they ever have before. I don't want Patrick Mahomes to continuously have to step back and throw the football 50 to 60, possibly 60 times a game to keep up with teams. That's not a way to win football games and sustain success. You got to be able to stop offenses, especially with how offenses are continuing to get better. You have younger quarterbacks coming up that are really, really good. Justin Herbert, we saw Tua yesterday start to learn in game what Steve Spagnuolo was doing and adjust to it on the fly. That's something that's going to happen more and more. You're going to have these athletic guys that can get outside the pocket, can make plays with their arms. And so you need to be able to play some defense against some of these young guys and get after them and play good coverage on the outside. So if they can keep that culture that they've got with Frank right now and Tyrann Mathieu to just kind of have that mentality to click it on when you need to, that's what I think is best to help them continue to win multiple Super Bowls.
Yeah, I won't disagree. That's for sure. Jacob, do our run-stopping DTs do enough against the run like Mike Pennell and Derek Nottie?
Yes.
We got this question today. Derek Nottie is one of the best run stoppers in this league. He will be cheap to re-sign because that's what he does. He's not a pass rusher.
Yeah. I think people kind of forget that. Like I've seen some talk on Twitter today about how it's going to be too expensive to re-sign him. Do you guys know how expensive it is to sign run stuffers when you're a one-dimensional defensive tackle? It's not that bad. That's really not that much. He should be back. And I still think he has another year on his contract too, but I think they're going to try to.
Yeah, I think they could start renegotiating after the first or third day of the league year.
Yeah.
I say get that done as soon as possible.
Yeah. Get him as cheap as you can.
Natalie, thank you for the super chat. Hope you're doing well. Why are we able to get 4th and 3 yards or less between the 20s, but goal line they seem unable to advance the ball? Just because they're not strong enough at the point of attack with the offensive line.
Yeah.
That's really all it comes down to.
When you're in the red zone, defenses don't have to spread out. They can it's much less room to cover, and you can have more guys at the line of scrimmage and up in the box. And even with the inability of the Chiefs to run the football, they can put less guys in the box and drop more in the pass. So that really screws everything up. If you can't get 3 or 4 yards on a run in the red zone, teams don't have to worry about you running the football.
And it's because this offensive line is built to be a zone type, which means that they are good at angles and they're good at moving their feet and they're athletic. They're not powerful. And that's the one thing, like Osemele brought some power. Kilgore brings a little bit more power, but he's not as athletic. I think Ryder's athleticism has taken a hit in the last 2 seasons, but he's still ahead of where Kilgore is.
Well, yeah, Kilgore's 31, so
right, and that's why I think that they're not playing him as much.
Yeah,
Gary, this is a great question. I haven't even looked at the contracts yet. There will be a couple of releases, but I don't think it's going to have to be many. They have like 23 free agents next year, so I would have to really dig into the list. I'll try to do that as soon as the season's over. Mr. Gooch, our big contributor, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you, Gooch.
And we will talk hopefully this week or weekend. At times, Fisher is trying to protect his right knee. He's getting beat by bums at times. I thought it was his left knee that was bothering him, but either way, he does seem to have a couple of snaps where somebody gets the better of him that shouldn't. But for the most part, I feel like he's doing all right. Dan,
He
have
played
you
really
seen
well
it?
yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't notice him in a bad way at all.
No,
That's the best way to put it.
Exactly. He's still. I think he's got a little something that's nagging him. I'm not sure what it is, and I'm sure we're not going to find out because that's just kind of how these guys are. And yeah, he's playing his best football of his career right now. This is his best season he's ever had.
Yeah, I mean, I like the year where he beat up hurt JJ Watt a little bit better just for the visual. But yeah, I'm with you. I can get with you.
Actually playing his best football right now, and it's impressive considering he kind of plateaued for a minute there.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're seeing some improvement, some improved strength, some improved recovery. He's always had that recovery. He's a great athletic tackle, but he's gotten more powerful lately, especially in the run game.
Yeah, and I think he sees the end of his career in sight, and so I think he's like redoubling his efforts, and I'm really happy to see it. Chiefs Knicks fan, sorry, thank you very much. Carter, the inability to run between the tackles in the 4-minute drill situation worry you guys?
Yeah.
I mean, but no more so than it does any other day of the week.
Yeah.
You know, I was really encouraged by what they did late with Darryl the other day. They didn't give him a carry yesterday, so I was a little disappointed in that, but you know, it is what it is. Dylan Hale, which move would you make the biggest impact for the team? Young stud tight end to learn from Kelsey, producing, or B, another solid LB? It's definitely an LB because they'll get on the field now. No?
So the way I feel about this is that the linebackers that are going to play the majority of the snaps for the Chiefs next year are on the roster. Like that feels like what this team has next year and what Brett Veach wants to do. I don't see them cutting Neiman. If they do, then yes, that makes 100% you go get a linebacker because Hitchens, Willie Gay, and I think that Neiman will all be back next year.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think they're pretty good at corner. It's just it's hard to kind of see what the moves they're gonna have to make at the end of the season. That's really going to tie into what they're going to do in terms of getting somebody in the draft or bringing in a veteran.
Yeah, and I'd say they're good, not great, but that's all right. They're happy to be good at corner rather than great.
Yeah.
They're not looking for one shutdown guy, so it is what it is. Chris, you have an interesting question. If your top interior OL and your top DE are still on the board at 32, what do you take if you're Veach? Clearly, a pass rusher is a more important position. It's higher value. It's harder to find somebody who can impact a ball game. So that would be my choice, hands down.
It's not close, guys, especially with the philosophy we know that this team has.
Right. Okay, let's see. PFW has Ward as the top tackling corner. Why not try him at safety? Because quite frankly, he's not good in space. He does not diagnose routes. He is a hands-on, feel where the guy's going kind of corner.
I want you guys to watch him try to locate the football. Now imagine that's his one job.
Right. You got to be able to track.
It doesn't work.
Steven, we're not trying to make fun of you.
No, I'm not. It's
the concept has been there before. It's just hard to project him in there because it goes against what he's good at.
Yeah.
Gary, how do you feel about Breeland playing this year? I'm perfectly fine with Breeland. I don't like the missed tackles. That was a mental lapse. He should have been better at that. Him getting beat from time to time and his PIs, that's what happens when he gets faced with speed. That's what Breeland is. I know that coming in, so it doesn't bother me at all. I understand how people get frustrated with it, though.
Yeah, like the holding penalties, people get frustrated with it. It is what it is. If you're going to get beat, hold the guy 5 yards. I don't care. It doesn't bother me that much. And yeah, he's very good at what he does. Like that's why they brought him in. And when he's in those situations, he excels and he's getting past breakups and he's around the football. So he's played really well this year, in my opinion.
He's a gamer. That's what he is.
Yeah.
That game against New England last year, the Super Bowl, 3 PBUs yesterday, double interceptions. He is a gamer. He will give up some plays, but he will make them too. That's how I felt. That's how I felt before he came there. The thing that pissed me off is the foot thing. Like, what did you do that's almost as bad as AB, like burning his feet off?
Yeah,
like that made me mad because that's just knucklehead. That's just not paying attention to what you ought to be doing. So that's just my opinion. I scrolled too far, so I got to go back up. Hold the phone. There we go. Okay. Question mark. Gooch. And to think we kept Kaiser and dropped Lovett. Don't even start me off,
So,
Gooch.
let's think about this for a little bit. I think Kaiser and Lovett are roughly the same build.
Yep.
They're not huge guys. Kaiser's less athletic than Lovett, but if you see Lovett on the field, he's not blocking very well either, guys.
No, but he could be an H and be successful. He
They don't
can't be
use him.
successful. No, but if they had, that's what they would have to use him for. As an
Yeah.
H, he can be successful, even chipping. He cannot be a tight end. Neither of them can.
Yeah, I'm so mad that Sherman dropped that pass yesterday.
Dude, me
so
too.
mad.
It's like, come on, bro. I cannot keep talking you up if you're gonna do that. People will start to laugh at me, but I am here for Sherman no
Man.
matter what he does.
He had a great block on the Tyreek Hill touchdown. Like he was sealed off just enough to let him get skinny.
Yeah. Jeremy Jones, there's a link down below the timeline thing where you can skip ahead or whatever. It says join. Just join there. There's like 5 tiers, however much you want to pay a month gets different bonuses kind of thing. So check it out, see what you think. No big deal if not. We're keeping the channel exactly the same. Shit, dang it. We're doing more than we actually have before. So we're keeping it rolling. Sausage looked like it was a little out of shape. Well, if you don't get any snaps, yeah, he didn't look that explosive.
This is not an out of shape thing. This is an older thing. He's getting older. That fullback you saw on the wheel route touchdown against the Chargers in 2018, he's gone.
He's in there somewhere.
No, he's gone. He's gone. He's in his mid-30s now. He's pretty much done.
Oh, shut up. Mid-30s. I don't even want to hear it.
Fullback.
Yeah, I know.
Fullback.
I know. I feel that I want a cornerback that can actually take away the team's number 1 receiver. The Chiefs don't have that. But that's me. And Brett Veach does not agree with me. What's that?
Yes, they do.
Who?
Willie Snead's good.
Willie Snead?
Sorry. L'Jarius Snead's going to do it. I literally do this all the time. I did it on that video too that I made about Willie. So yeah, L'Jarius Snead's going to be a lockdown corner, guys. I'm sorry. And I just might be getting a little bit too far down it. But I told you guys he was cornerback 1 4 or 5 weeks ago. He comes back. That's what he is. He's going to be that guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he's actually surpassed my expectation of progress as a rookie. I do feel he can be a quarterback 1. I completely agree with you. I need to see that that long gap of missed games this year has me I get
that.
Trying to keep the expectations down. Can I get a Jody Fortson in the post game, please? I would love to see that. Here's the thing. From what I understand, he's practicing as a tight end now. So it makes it harder. Not that the tight ends couldn't block, but it makes it harder for him to get on the field this season, Chris. Okay, who's next? Eric Schneider. Tyreek does not get enough credit for the work that he does. True. Fast track guy since Bob Hayes has been a complete receiver. Hard to remember that he's converted running back. Yeah, he split time at Oklahoma State. I think it was more that the school that he went to, I can't remember what it was. They only needed him at running back. He ran routes at Oklahoma State, sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all in there. But yeah, his leaping ability, his ability to read the defense, that's all come light years from where it was, and he doesn't get enough. Everyone still calls him the kick returner, speed guy. Fine. Let him keep underwriting him.
The problem is because of what happened last year. A lot of people don't do any type of research outside of seeing that big headline. And there's a ton of people that still believe what happened, and they don't even think to question what happened because of his past and what he pled guilty to. That there is, more than enough evidence now to show that probably didn't do that. But again, here we are. We live in a society where people run with headlines, and this is affecting him in terms of getting recognition, as well as people continuing to, how do I say this politely, rag on him on Twitter. We'll just say that.
And that's fair. And I think it's also a reason why he will remain a Kansas City Chief. He appreciates the fact that they've stood by him.
Yeah.
He wants to be here long term, and I'm glad to see that. I miss the days when you were on a team for life. That was your thing. Hot and spicy draft content will end It'll begin about 48 hours after the Chiefs lose. I guarantee
Whatever happens, guys.
We will shift gears like nobody's business.
We'll go home 180.
Yeah, it will not be a problem. Why not play Hardman over Robinson?
You just saw it.
Chiefs Knicks fan. Yeah, if I had an answer, good lord.
So here, I'll give it to you guys because I think I found something 2 weeks ago against the Broncos. I posted a video, a clip on Twitter. It was a deep shot to Mecole Hardman in the end zone. He had a safety trailing underneath, and he didn't catch the football. But if you watch slowly, he decelerates to find the football. He's not running through his routes. So when he's trying to locate the football, he takes a second to slow down to find it. And if he were to do both at the same time, he'd be playing much more because Mahomes would trust where he is on the field. Because when he throws these balls, he's throwing with anticipation to a spot. And if you slow down to locate the football, you're not going to be in that spot when the ball gets there. And that is the biggest issue right now to why he's not playing as much, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fair. And that's, again, why Mahomes is always yelling at him, run through, keep running. Guys, we're getting low on time, so I'm going to start going through these fast. Don't take it as offense if I go quick. Eric, did the D play better than they showed on the score yesterday? Maybe. At the end of the day, you give up the plays you give up, and that is your responsibility. So I'm going to hold them to it a little bit. Dan likes them. Is Indy going to be a threat in the playoffs? They certainly can be. I picked them to win the division. I think they're showing out why they can get there.
Their defense will be, but Phil Rivers will hold them back because that's what he does.
Yeah. Casey Masterpiece pretty much saved the day with the return punt. Are you pleased with the special teams? It's been up and down, but I feel like they're on an upward trend.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing right now. It usually happens every year.
Yeah, they do peak very well as a staff. They get their players ready. Yeah. Lucas, would you rather play the Bills, Steelers, or Titans in the playoffs? Yes, yes, and yes.
Give me the Steelers.
Yeah.
All day.
I mean, honestly, they're going to have to play the two of the three of them. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, that don't matter.
Mahomes took a 30-yard sack. Do you think it's time to move on to Henny? Sure, Hog Farmer.
I mean, Henny can't get that far back, so yeah, why not, right?
That's true. He doesn't have the ability to run out the back of the pocket, so you don't have to worry about it. I agree 100% that it's on the O-line. Okay, good. I'm glad you see it that way, Ian. How would you draft O-line? Is first too high? Yes. No. I think so. I've looked at this class, at least rudimentarily. I don't see anything in the interior that's worth a first round.
Oh, in this draft, probably, yeah. But I'm talking about in general. If you're talking about protecting your $500 million investment, it's never too high.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I'm talking about this class.
Okay, yeah.
I think there could be a tackle or two that might be a stretch, but in general,
it's not a great top end. And it's few and far in between. And those are going to go in the first 15, 20 picks. So
yeah. And believe me, Ian, I haven't done a deep dive on them. I've seen them all very, very like 30,000 foot level. We'll dig into that as we always do. We'll give you, oh, good Lord. Hopefully, Reagan Cresswell, you guys have heard him on Locked On Chiefs. He's done film for us in the past. Hopefully, we can get Reagan back on board. He just recently moved. He's trying to get his life coordinated. He is a draft academy grad. He and Dan and I will divvy it up and hopefully attack a bunch of stuff. So
we'll get a lot of stuff done.
And, and with those guys looking at it, you'll get a little less of me driving my opinion. We'll have arguments about some of these picks.
This is where we can actually get some more arguments because of what we think of guys.
Right. Jeremy Jones, welcome to the memberships. I'm glad you found it. Daryl Miller, Super Sticker, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And again, members, not going to do anything this Tuesday because of my family schedule, but post-Christmas, we'll get into that. And I'm going to, as it stands right now, I'm actually going to go against my nerves, and I'm probably going to travel to one household to see one grandmother this Christmas. So I might be remote that week, you guys. It should be very interesting. But I will be online for you. You will have opinion. Let's see who's next. Looking for the question marks if you guys still have questions. Chiefs Knicks fan, Snead looked good to me yesterday. Your thoughts? Yeah, like other than I saw two plays where I felt he didn't get the depth it required for what they were asking him to do. But I felt like lining him up at the line of scrimmage and asking him to get to a 12-yard curl was too much.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a video on L'Jarius Sneed this week, guys. So I think that we're gonna look at the last 2 weeks and kind of see what we're talking about here with Sneed.
I am glad to hear that, folks. I am out of time, so I'm not going to do film this week. The Terez thing is happening tomorrow, and then we'll have stats and whatnot, but Dan has all the film this week. So I am glad to see somebody else do it besides me because people accuse me of being a Sneed fanboy.
Well, I mean, I'm the one that said that he's cornerback one. So if anything, I'm going to be really.
There you go. I like that.
And boy, like
I like that. Any chance LDT comes back in 21? Yes,
Yeah,
he will.
for
He
sure.
will be back. I mean, the only thing would be for me knowing him and how he approaches it. And I have requested to interview him multiple times. If I ever get him on, you guys, I will not ask him in French, but I'll give you what I can. He's a dedicated guy. He's a thoughtful guy. And so if there is anything where his community, I think it's Toronto, if I'm correct, if they need him still, I could see him taking another year. And maybe that turns into an age thing where maybe that's it. But no, this year should have been get through the pandemic. I believe he intends to return. I think he'll be better off for it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of tweets of him saying how much he misses, the game. So he definitely takes this as a responsibility first, and then football second thing. So yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so knock on wood. Let's hope that vaccines are rolling out across America today. Congratulations. This is a big step forward. Hopefully that takes care of the whole continent as well. Do you draft replacement starters to create competition, or do you add depth, or both? I think you add both. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about your evaluation, especially if you're Brett Veach. You have guys, if you evaluate them and they're the top 10 and they're at a position that you already have a good starter at, you deal with it because that's what your evaluation tells you. I think where teams get in trouble, and it's not about drafting for need or drafting, it's about going away from what their evaluation truly is.
Yeah, and in this sense, if you're drafting players that you think can be starters, you're also creating depth. So it's a twofold thing. You get guys that are going to be good players that you think are going to be good players anyway, and that should just automatically create depth, assuming they produce to what you think they're going to be.
Yeah. Lane Salas, the decline in red zone efficiency is the guys that they have blocking. I think that's truly it. I mean, and don't get me wrong, Mitch Schwartz is a superb pass blocker, but he's better in the run than you think, and that is definitely a factor here as well.
100%.
Let's see. Gooch again. You're the man, dude. I don't know what you do, but we got to find how you have time to do all this. Sherman will always get the love from the term from
There's no
me if you want a touchdown Super Bowl block. Exactly.
There's no hate here, guys.
No, he's just saying in general, it won't show up here.
Blocking. He's not catching anymore for a reason.
Daryl Miller, thanks for your sticker very much.
Thank you.
Is the lack of a running game, Two Bro Show, going to catch up to them in the playoffs? Mahomes cannot throw 45 times every game, can he? Yes, he can.
They will.
Yeah.
Even if they're running effectively, I still think he'll throw around 30 to 40 times every game. Yeah. Just because that's how this offense is.
And luckily this year, they're better about taking what they're given.
Yeah.
Even if you're gonna fake blitz and drop, if you're not dropping quick enough, if you're not showing that high coverage, he's going to get you.
They did a great job of doing that yesterday. A great job.
I'm glad you're not just driving. Number 1 seed. I'm glad you're pumped. I'm pretty excited about that myself. Yeah. Okay. Now no reason not to keep the foot on the gas. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Somebody tell Andy, will you?
We'll see.
Dura Miller is Brian Gooch a spy? Yes, he's Gruden's love child. He's just looking for info so he can try to catch up to Andy. Gruden's season is halfway home. He got rid of Gunther. He doesn't care. He's like, I got my 1-1 against Andy. I'll try to get 2 next year. I think that's really what he's all about. Curtis, Dan, you also said you were going to blow out the Dolphins. Hey, it looked like it for a while.
They were just about you guys. I'm telling you, if Mahomes doesn't underthrow Tyreek Hill by a half yard, that's a blowout.
Yeah.
That's what it is, guys.
Well, yeah. I mean, or if you didn't throw one of those interceptions, or
it didn't even matter.
Thornhill had an inch longer finger. I mean,
that game is literally inches away in multiple spots of being a blowout. So I'm okay with how it ended because it was there for the taking. Yeah. And they just stopped after that interception.
Yeah. Adam Roach, I really wasn't kidding. Dan and I keep our eye on things during the season. It's about bowl season when I start, but literally 2 days after the Chiefs are out of the playoffs, after the Super Bowl parade. We'll be on it. Two Bros, he's literally changing the landscape. Yeah, he is. And the funny thing is teams are starting to adapt to try to play like him, and not everybody can.
Not many if at all can. Like, it's not even.
I mean, not even teams. I don't mean there is no one quarterback that can play like him. I mean, not even Josh Allen, and I think his arm is probably the closest. Am I wrong?
I would say Herbert and Allen are good adaptations to what Mahomes does. They got big arms. They can move in the pocket, move outside of the pocket. Herbert's obviously a rookie, but he's got the frame and the arm and the movement skills.
Yeah.
Those are the three guys that I would liken to Mahomes in terms of size, arm, and athleticism.
Yeah, I'm down. Pie Dessert, I'm not sure what you're getting at because I think you probably used a word that makes me think that you think Dan stopped those players. He didn't.
No, we didn't.
So I think I'm just misunderstanding your question. Yeah, I think I'm just misunderstanding your question. I'll see if you re-put it a different way down here. Marshall, what do you think will happen with Lucas Niang? I really have no concept at all. I've seen no updates. I haven't seen him on social media. I do know who his agent is, and I haven't seen him put out anything out. So I think it really is just a question mark at this point. As of right now, do you think Frank is worth the money? Zach, I do. If it's not for him, they don't have a Super Bowl. I'll tell you that right now. And quite frankly, despite underperforming statistically, I do agree with that. I think he has been a leader in that D-line group that has now become the strength of this defense. And I don't think they'd be able to do it without him.
Yeah, they paid him more for culture change than production, in my opinion. I know they said that they thought he could be a top 5 defensive end in the NFL, and he's got tools to be that. But what you brought in was a guy for culture. That's really what I feel like. Yeah,
and I think it's working. He's a power edge rusher. He's not going to be the dominant super guy. I mean, I told him they should trade for Hassan Riddick this last year as a stand-up kind of rusher guy, and he had like 5 sacks yesterday. Took him all season to progress, but he's going to be a free agent. If you really want to add a speed rush element on the other side, he could be an option. Rich Eisen, Burgermeister. That's funny. If any of you guys read science fiction, there's one called the Expeditionary Force. There's a similar term in that. What are the chief chances of getting the first round bye? Right now, KC Masterpiece, it's about 100.
Yeah. It's about.
As long as they don't make a mistake and drop one of these last 3 games. And don't get me wrong, this isn't like a foregone conclusion against the Saints. This is a very tough game.
They can still lose to the Saints and still get the 1 seed.
Technically, yes. Right.
Not technically. It'll still be theirs.
No, I don't think that it would.
It would, because it would be an NFC game, an NFC opponent.
Right.
Because the Steelers lost to the Bills, which is an AFC, and they beat the Bills. It's an NFC. So the first tiebreaker is, from what I understand, in division record, or in conference record, excuse me.
In conference, yes. They'd each have 1 loss to an AFC team.
Yes, and the Chiefs beat the Bills.
Oh, so you're saying that the next tiebreaker. That may be right. I can't remember what the 3rd and 4th and 5th layers
are. That's how I understand it. I could be wrong, but that's how I've understood it to this point, and I've seen people trying to break it down. It's confusing, guys. Like, it's very confusing.
Yeah. There's a lot of contingencies. But long story short, they control their destiny. Don Noose, how are you? Thoughts on Clark yesterday? I thought it was an improvement in terms of his get-off, but he was going against 2 rookies.
Yeah. You can really just take away how he looked himself. He looked a bit faster.
Yeah. Thank you, Chiefs Knicks fan. Appreciate the super chats very much and the support as always. Do you guys think the Bell signing hurt CEH's reps? I don't.
He had 2 carries yesterday, guys. Like, he didn't have – he was on he had a couple catches too, but you figure how many times they used Darryl in 2-minute drill anyway. Like, and this season was always supposed to be a split backfield with Damian Williams and Clyde. He's getting most of the reps. He had 16 carries yesterday. He had 16. That's a normal workload for a running back in this offense. Yeah. The offensive line just sucks. He had 32 yards, guys.
Yeah, nobody in Andy's offense is going to be a 25 carry a game guy.
No,
just isn't going to happen. Kyle, we talked about this a little bit earlier. I really didn't see it, and I don't know that there was anything to it. I'll let Lev talk for himself because I don't know the guy. Yeah. Tactics. Do you think the Miami humidity threw off Mahomes' throws? I think he's lying when he says he has a love-hate relationship with there. He's gone down there and he's won 2 major things in that stadium. I think he's just fine. Don't let him play off. Let's see. Questions. We're getting down to the end here, folks. We're over an hour, so we'll clean it up here as we hit the last. Tactics. This team is the 97-98 Broncos. Go back-to-back. The traitor. Wow. Holding a grudge much? I think the next Super Bowl, whether it's this season, 3 years from now, whenever it is, I think that is going to be the mark that separates Mahomes from Elway. Until then, multiple Super Bowl wins, that's a heavy bargaining chip.
I guess. He was a glorified game manager. Granted.
Different era.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like Troy Aikman was the definition of a game manager, but he's got 3 Super Bowls. So I mean, what are you gonna do?
Why is the defense less efficient defending the red zone compared to last year? Because they have a couple of rookies out there pretty consistently. They're not getting the same pass rush. Pass rush usually helps the red zone pass defense, especially. And I don't think they've made enough improvements at the linebacker level yet because Willie's not playing.
Yeah, the linebackers are bad pretty much in the red zone.
Thanks, Daryl. I appreciate you being here, and thanks for saying that. Oh, you answer this one.
I'm not disappointed with Le'Veon Bell. I think he's been just fine. You brought him in to be a change of pace back, and he's been actually better than I expected him to be, guys. So I'm pretty happy with his contributions.
Yeah, I thought I know, what did I call it to the wife? I said scoot yesterday. I thought he scooted really well yesterday.
There was that one run he had. I'm going to tweet it out to you today or tonight or tomorrow. The hole was probably about this big, and he found a way to just kind of scoot through it. And if you'll notice, the Miami Dolphins used a lot of that 3 down, 2 up linebackers, like the 3 or the 3-4 almost. Kind of, or the 4-3, 3-4. Like the Chiefs used to run with 2 linebacker stand up, but they would come and drop and do that all kind of thing. So they were able to run a little bit sometimes between the tackles when they got that nose tackle out of the way. And that was kind of what they did. And Le'Veon Bell just kind of squeezed through a little hole, and he found his way for 11 yards. So, I mean, yeah.
And for me, it wasn't about ability. That's experience of seeing the front, knowing what's coming, knowing where the cut can be. So I think that's great. Give him a few reps off and let Lev, see what he can eat. Drew, I think Lev is probably only here for this season. I don't know that they'll bring him back, and so Williams becomes the number 2 to Clyde next year.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell is ring chasing right now, guys.
Right.
He doesn't have one, so he's here to get a ring.
As he should be. And that's all dependent, folks, on the shape that Damian keeps himself in. Yeah. I know his mother was dealing with some chemotherapy, so I'm sure that there's a lot going on in his life that isn't football, so hopefully he's still training and that kind of thing. It's all dependent on the shape you're in. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name, Drake. This will embarrass all of us, mostly me. So perhaps play action rollout to Kelsey, which is the way to go on the goal line since they can't get a yard. I mean, it certainly can't hurt, but I think most teams look for that. I think, honestly, the best thing to do is just run the option and pitch it. Be done.
Yeah, they need to do more stuff with the edges in the run game to widen the defense a little bit. And then I'm not a huge fan of the rollouts personally, because typically when they do rollouts, they don't block the defensive end, and it cuts the field in half. That's, you can get, especially if you can't run the football, if you're cutting the end zone in half, you have maybe 4 or 5 guys that are on your side of the field dropping into coverage. That makes it more difficult. Luckily, one of the Dolphins defenders left his assignment completely because Mahomes has legs, kind of. Like, he's not super quick, but he's deceptively quick, and he can get into the end zone. So you saw a linebacker completely leave his assignment, and that's why Kelsey caught that touchdown pass yesterday.
Yeah, I'm with you. Adam, does anyone else freaking out when DeMarcus was trying to make a play on the onside kick?
Just get down, dude. Just get down.
Dude, I almost spilled my beer. I'll tell you that. I was doing the same thing, Adam. And Clyde even ran backwards once last week. He's been hanging out with DeMarcus too much. I'm tired of it.
DeMarcus is okay. I like DeMarcus Robinson. I think he's a fun guy. He fits in with this team well, but let's be what you are. Know what you are. You're not Tyreek. You're not Hardman. You're not Sammy. Stop running backwards. Stop trying to wiggle. You don't have wiggle. You don't have it.
This is not how you carry a football.
Here. It's like all the way out here, too. He's just like.
I know, man. Those are long arms, too. It's out there.
It's out there.
Yes, Casey.
Yeah,
they're somebody to be taken seriously. That's for sure.
If Taysom Hill's the quarterback.
Dirty took out Henry's legs in the playoffs, gave Lindsey a concussion, and took out Gesicki with a separated shoulder. Okay. So you mean they literally hurt people? Yes. Okay. that's fine. But Henry ran over a number of things before that. Gesicki was having a day, and Lindsey's like 5'2".
That's so mean. He's not 5'2". He's short, but I mean, he's about the size of Clyde, I think.
Philip, I'm sorry, but hey. No, I actually like him a lot. I love his game. If he were a little more robust and could stay healthy, I think he could be a really impressive back. But
yeah, I love Philip Lindsey's game. I think he's got all the tools to be a workhorse, but he's just unfortunately a little bit too small.
Yeah,
and that's gonna play into some injuries.
My social media editor, I like that. I've never got to see a question from you. I will tell you this: they are diametrically opposed. If you look at one's a triangle pointed down, run game, defense. Passing game, and the current Chiefs are this: passing game, run game, defense. Yeah, they're two sides of a Star David. Let me put it that way. And that seems to be our last question. We're well over time, so I just wanted to say thank you again to all of you for being here, for hanging in, for everyone who super chatted tonight. All you new members, I think we got 3 tonight. That's great to see. I'll have a member video this week. We'll do something as a get together next week. Gooch, I'm going to ping you on something that I can get a hold of you on, and we'll do that. Dan will have film. I'll talk to Therese tomorrow. We'll have stats on Wednesday. Jeff's thing will be a stat of the week will come out as well. What else do I got? And hey, then it's Nolans. I'm looking forward to it. Dan, I hope tomorrow is a better day for you, and thanks for being here.
My wife will be home tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a very good day.
That's awesome. Well, say hi and thank her for letting us borrow you.
Will do.
Folks, you all have a good night and a good day tomorrow. We'll talk to you next time.